Ladies and gentlemen, the government is finally doing something about all of these robocalls. Man, are they annoying or what? So, anyone with a mobile phone knows the unpleasant sensation of answering a call from an unfamiliar number only to hear something pre recorded or marketing or some scam from a company that you have no interest in patronizing. Around 33 million robocalls are made each day to Americans, according to the National Consumer Law Center. Wow, more than 50 billion robocalls per year. That is outrageous. This is more than just an annoyance. In 2022, around 68 million Americans lost over $29 billion to scammers. Yeah, well, now you know why they do it. That's a lot of money that they're getting from people over these scam phone calls. This is according to the National Consumer Law Center. These calls also make people less likely to answer their phones or trust valid phone calls they do receive, making the national significance of telecommunications infrastructure less valuable. But one of the most frustrating things of these calls is they are largely illegal, especially the scam callers. Government regulations say that telemarketing calls is only legal to a cell phone or residential line if the recipient of the call has provided prior express written consent to that call. This is similar to the rules of the National Do Not Call Registry, though consumers must opt in to that registry through the website, which I have done with all of my cell phones, the Federal Trade Commission, but often sellers and telecommunication marketers calling for them don't have this consent. The reason why they're getting away with it continues to make these calls is that the sellers, often big, well known companies, hire telemarketing firms to make the calls on their behalf. Often, these telecommunication firms, they buy consumer information and they argue consent from other companies in a billion-dollar business called lead generation. Lead generators, they typically take one agreement from a consumer providing consent and sell that agreement to many different callers and sellers who themselves resell it to many others. A consumer might have signed up to receive a call from one seller, say a car insurance quote, but unwittingly checked a box agreeing to be contacted by hundreds of thousands of different companies loosely affiliated with the car insurance company. Wow. Well, that's why call block comes in handy, don't it? It most certainly do. So on Wednesday, December 13th, the government made it much harder for sellers to make calls to numbers obtained by the lead generation industry. In a 4-to-1 vote, the FCC approved regulations that explicitly say that telemarketing robocalls are allowed only if the actual seller, not just the telemarketing company, has gotten written consent from the specific consumer. Today, we put an end to this loophole. This is according to the FCC. That means consumers get back their power to pick who they want to communicate with and when. The vote should help cut down on the number of robocalls made. Each illegitimate call, according to Congress, can lead to $500 in damages. It will be much more difficult for sellers to try and escape responsibilities. The Electronic Privacy Information Center projected that the vote would eliminate the great majority of unwanted telemarketing calls and texts. Of course, it could be a little while before anything changes. If companies continue to flaunt their rules, regulators may need consumers to turn them in and file lawsuits to hold those companies accountable. That's not easy to do, said Saunders, but you have to answer the robocall, find out who the seller is, and then file a lawsuit under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Many consumers may not have the time or the patience to do that. Still, the industry is preparing for a wave of new lawsuits under the act. A defense attorney told Reuters that he expects to see lawsuit filings double, even triple going forward. Good. It's good to know that. If I ever get those annoying calls, now I know what to do. So you got to file a lawsuit under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Good. I will remember that. Y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. At one point in time, I was getting a lot of calls, but Verizon, who I have my cell phone number through, they have a filter where you can filter out the majority of the calls. And ever since I started using the filter, I get very few. Very few will kind of seep in, and you can block those. So, y'all, please tell me what you think about this video, and I sure hope you're not getting a lot of robocalls. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.